Dear students, I welcome you all to this new video lesson in the e-learning series for the subject of computer science, class 11th. Students, in the last video, we discussed the sorting algorithms that were given in your syllabus, and now we are into the last chapter of your this programming unit where you will be dealing with Python. So this Python modules is the last lesson of this unit. In this video lesson, we will be discussing the introduction to Python modules and the three modules that have been given in your syllabus for discussion. There are some functions related to the modules as per your syllabus, and we will be discussing those functions with examples. So let's get started. So in the beginning, let's start with the introduction to modules. What is a module? A module allows you to logically organize your Python code. Grouping related code into a module makes the code easier to understand and use. A module is a Python object with arbitrarily named attributes that you can bind and reference. In simple words, we can say a module is a file consisting of Python code. A module can define functions, classes, and variables. A module can also include runnable code. So, a Python module is a file with .py extension, that is Python file containing variables, class definitions, statements, and functions related to a particular task. Okay, so let us take an example. Suppose we have a Python file in which we want to group all the constants and all the functions related to maths. Suppose we are dealing with trigonometry and we want all the functions related to it. Suppose sine, cos, tan, and we also want some constants like pi, e, because these constants and functions deal with math, so we can group them together in a Python file and name it math.py. So that will work as a module. In that module, all the functions, the constants and variables that we are using will be related to the task of mathematics. Okay, so whenever you want to create a module, please note that a particular module must point to a particular task or a problem domain. Okay, Python comes loaded with some predefined modules that can be used in your program. We can also create our own modules. Suppose you have devised some functions by your own and you want to group them in a particular file, so you can name them with your name and you can import those modules in your programs that you want to create in your future. Okay, so if you have created some functions by yourself and you want to use them in your future programs or projects, so what you can do is you can make a Python file for that and give it a particular name, and then you can import it in your future programs. The modules that come preloaded with Python are called standard library modules. There are some modules that come with the installation of Python. Some of the standard library modules are math, that is having all the functions related to mathematics, random, that is having functions for generation of random numbers, and statistics, having functions related to statistics. So these are the three modules that are in your syllabus and we will discuss them. Okay? But before using the functionalities available in a module, we will have to import the module in our program. So how to import it? Let us see. In Python, if we want to use the definitions inside a module, then we need to import the module in our program. Python provides import statement to import modules in a program. If you remember, you have used the JSON module in your dictionary video to print the dictionary in a particular pattern, or we called it pretty printing. Do you remember it? Yes. There we use JSON module and we also use the import statement. So in Python we have the statement called import that will call all the functionalities of that module in your program. The import statement can be used in the following ways. Please pay attention to this part. How to import the module. If you want to import the entire module, you will use import space the name of the module. Okay. So this is how you import a particular module in your program. Import space the name of the module. These lines must be in the beginning of your program. Okay. When you start coding, you first have to import the modules that you want in your program. So these lines are at the beginning of your program code. So import module name. If there is only one module, so you just write import the name of the module. If you want to import more than one, then you can put comma amongst the name of the modules. How you will do it? Import first module name, comma second module name, and so on. This is how you import the entire module. Means all the functionalities of the module will be available in your program. But if you do not want the entire module, you just want some objects of it, then you will use this type. How you will use? From name of the module, import the name of the objects you want in your program. Clear? And if you want to import all the objects from that module, you will write from module name import star. So here star represents all the objects. Okay. So these are the three ways in which you import a particular module and its objects. So if you want to import entire module, you just write import the name of the module. But if you want to have just selected objects from the module, then you will write from space module name space import space name of the object separated by comma. And if you want to import all the modules, all the objects of the module, there is another way, from space module name space import star. So star means everything. So all the objects from that module will be imported. Okay, in your program. I think it is clear. Let's move forward. When we import entire module, then we can use a function defined in the module as follows. How it will be? It will be like the name of the module dot the name of the object or function. Okay, if it is a function, then it will be followed by the parenthesis. If it is an object, then it will not be having any parenthesis. Okay, so that's how you call or use a particular function or object defined in a module. If you are using the import statement with module name. So if you want to call a particular function or object, you have to name the module first, then put a dot operator, and then you must follow the function or object name. Okay? But if you import only some selected objects from a module, then we can use the name of the object without prefixing the module name. Okay, let us see the difference. That means if you are importing only a fixed number of objects, then you should not mention the name of the module before the object name. Okay, let us see the difference with an example. Suppose you are writing import math. Okay, you have imported the entire module and now you want to use the constant pi of this. Then you will write print math.pi. But if you have only imported pi using this line from math import pi, then if you want to use the value of pi, you will directly write print pi. So this is the difference. If you are using this from import command, then you can name the module or you can name the object directly without the module name. But if you are importing using this method, the first one, import math, now all the objects have been imported. So to point to a particular object, you have to name the module first, then put the dot operator to go inside the module and then the name of the object. But if you have used this type from math import pi, then only this pi constant will be the part of your program. So to access this value directly, you do not have to use the name of the module and dot operator. Just use the name of the object directly. Clear? I think the difference is clear to you. Great. Now, according to your syllabus, we have the math module and we will be discussing all the functions that are given in your syllabus. The first object in math module is pi. It is a constant having the ratio of circumference of a circle to its diameter, that is 3.14159. Okay, so this value can be directly used. Then we have a constant called e. It is a mathematical constant having value 2.71828. Okay, next coming on to the functions. As per your syllabus, we have the function for square root named sqrt and you provide the value of x. Okay, then we have ceiling function, ceil x. It returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. There are two functions, ceil and floor. They work with the float values. How they will work? If you have given 3.5 and you want the ceiling, then it will give 3. And if you want the floor, then it will give 4. Okay, because 3.5 lies between two integers 3 and 4. So 3 becomes the floor, and 4 becomes the ceiling. Okay, the floor and the ceil. Okay, so the integer just below the float value will be the floor and the integer just above that float value will be the ceil. Okay, now we have power function to calculate x to the power n. How you will write it? POW, that is the name of the function, and in bracket you provide two values. First will be x, second will be n. So it will return x raised to the power n. Next you have FABS, absolute value of x. Then you have some known functions like sine of x, cos of x and tan of x. So these are the functions in the math module that are mentioned in your syllabus. Okay. Next module is random module. This module deals with the generation of random numbers. What are the random numbers? The numbers that do not have a particular pattern amongst them. Okay. If they have some pattern, they are not random numbers. So let us discuss the functions. The first function is random with no arguments. It generates a random float number between 0 to 1. Please pay attention. This random function will generate a float number between 0 and 1. It will not be greater than 1. Okay? You have to remember this thing. It can be asked as a 1-mark question. Then you have second function randint, that is called random integer between a and b. Okay, you have to provide two values a and b. So this function will return a random number between the given range. Okay. Now we have the third function randrange, that is random range. Here you have three parameters: start, stop, step. So this will return a random number between the given range. Okay, you know it. You know these three parameters you have used in slicing of list, tuple and string. So according to the range generated by it, any random number can be generated. Okay, so this was all about the random module. Now you have statistics module. Here you have mean, and in bracket you will be providing a sequence containing the data. Now you are well aware with the sequence. Okay, so the sequence mean will be calculated. Okay, so the mean, that means the average of the given data set, will be calculated. Next function is median of a data sequence. It will calculate the median, that means the middle value of the given data set. And the third one is mode, and in brackets you have to provide the data sequence. It will calculate the mode, that you call central tendency of the numeric or nominal data. You have used these functions in mathematics of class 10th. So you will be clearly aware with these three functions. Okay. So these are the three modules that are in your syllabus, and the functions that are given under these modules have also been discussed. Now let us see some examples. In this example, you can see we have imported math module. How to it? Import math. Then we write math.py, it gives this value. Math.e, it gives this. Then math.sqrt 16, it gives 4. Math.ceil, math.floor, math.pow, math.fabs, math.sin, math.cos. Okay. So this is how you use the functions in math module. And now let us see the random module. Import random, random.random. The name of the module is also random. The name of the function is also random. So it is a function. So it's followed by parenthesis, and a float value between 0 and 1 will be generated, and it will be different every time. That's why it is called random number. Okay, you cannot predict it, what value will be generated. Next, you have random.randint 5,50. So any random integer will be generated. Okay. Then we have third function random.randrange, and according to the range generated by this function, a random number is generated. Okay. And the third module, that is statistics module, you can import it, and you can have this like statistics.mean, and in the brackets you provide a sequence of data. Here we have taken it as list. So the mean is 5. Then we can also calculate median. Okay, we have got the median value, and then we can calculate the mode. You have to note that this will be a sequence of data. It can be a list or a tuple. Now, very important thing related to importing of a module. Suppose you have a module that has a very long name sequence. Suppose statistics and you want to give some alias name to it in short. So you can write it like this: import statistics as st. Import statistics as its alias name. Okay, so you can also write import math as m, import random as rd. So you can give it a short name also. Then you can use like this st.mean, and you can give the data sequence. Okay, so this is how you import a particular module. You can just give the import followed by the name of the module, or you can give it a name for yourself, but this name will only be available for this program in which you are writing. If you close the program and reopen Python, then this name cannot be used. Okay, so this is all about using the modules in your program. In the beginning of Python, where we discuss the characteristics and the functionalities of Python, we had discussed that a Python is a rich language having a lot of libraries. Okay, so these are the libraries that you will be using, and depending upon your problem domain, you can use different modules in your program. Suppose you are working with artificial intelligence, there are separate modules that you can use. If you are working with interface designing, there are different modules to be used. If you are working with game designing, there are different modules to be used. If you are working with graph generation, pie chart and bar chart like this, then there are different modules. Okay, so you name the problem domain and the Python has the required number of modules related to your problem domain. That's why this Python language is being preferred so much. Okay, so this is all about this last function of this last chapter of this programming part in your syllabus. And with this, we come to the end of the programming part of your syllabus. And the only mantra of getting mastery over programming is practice. The more you practice, the more programs you will make, and the less number of errors you will encounter, and it will make you a good programmer. Okay, so all the best to you, and I hope that you will be a good programmer in future. Thank you very much.